Hello, welcome to the France 24 interview. Our guest today is Jacques Diouf, the Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Mr. Diouf, welcome to the France 24 interview. You are in Paris because the ministers of agriculture of the G20 countries are meeting and trying to find an agreement on ways to curb the volatility of food prices. Why is it important? Because first of all, 1 person out of 6 on Earth is hungry. The population is growing across the Earth, and it is creating some political tensions. So do you believe there will be an agreement to find ways to curb this volatility of food prices?
Well, first, we appreciate the fact that the issue of food security is high on the international agenda.
It's the first time that it's on the G20 agenda, right?
Well, it has been put on the G20 agenda, first at the G8 in L'Aquila in 2009, then at Pittsburgh also it was discussed, but not to that level of prominence. With the relevant preparation done by the G20 presidency, Minister Le Maire traveled to different countries, to Rome, to prepare this. And we were asked by the French presidency to coordinate with the OECD the preparation of these meetings. So I think we have had with our partners in the UN, Bretton Woods institutions and other bodies, the opportunity to go in depth on the different issues. As you rightly mentioned, the problems are one problem of hunger. Almost 1 billion persons hungry in the world. We have seen also, as a consequence of high prices, price volatilities, riots, food riots in more than 22 countries during the period 2007-2008. And we also saw government toppled and a lot of people killed. Therefore, a situation which was dangerous for peace and security in the world. But beyond that, it's a simple question of the most fundamental of human rights, the right to exist, which naturally presupposes that you eat and you drink. And we are having a world population that will move from 6.9 billion presently to 9.1 billion in 2050. This will require an increase in world food production of 70%. In developing countries, 100%. And these issues have to be, that's not happening. On the contrary, we have seen the share of agriculture in official development assistance go from 19% in 1980 down to 3% in 2006. Now we are at around 5%. Unless you invest to develop the sector, you will not find a proper solution. In addition, we are seeing also the impact of climate change, of drought, of floods, impacting on the supply and therefore leading to high prices. You know, we saw what happened recently with Russia stopping its grain exports because of forest fires that were the result of drought in the country, and that immediately led to high prices because of these restrictive measures.
Right. So, I mean, you've described all the problems and how they are related. Now the solutions. The idea is to have a kind of mechanism where you would monitor better the price fluctuation, the stocks, the consumption, but there are problems with that. Another proposal is to prevent financial markets to run wild and create some of the problems, but there's opposition. Do you think there will be an agreement for a mechanism to monitor stocks and production and to curb financial markets?
First, there's an agreement now that we need to reverse the negative trends of investment in agriculture, because the fundamentals are supply and demand. Therefore, unless we increase the supply, to face the increasing demand, we will not have the solution to the problem. Now, in addition to that, it has been generally agreed that we need more transparency on the supply, the demand, and the stocks. We were receiving information, but not everybody was giving the information. Information was not coming in a timely manner. Now there is the agreement that we should have an agricultural market information system that would allow all partners that are playing on the market to provide the information.
Is there agreement on this? Are countries like China, India, or private companies on board to do this?
In general, there has not been opposition to this proposal, and we hope that this will be approved during the 2 days meeting. We have also agreed in principle that there should be a rapid response forum, that not only shall we get the information, but we will create a place where we will discuss what action to take to face those situations. I think those two elements will be crucial to address price fluctuations.
And you're optimistic that they will be addressed appropriately?
So far, it's in the proposals that we have collectively made in the framework of the group that was constituted at the request of the French presidency under our coordination with OECD. Now the decision will have to be made by the ministers this evening and tomorrow.
What about the regulation of financial markets?
Well, the idea had not been a regulation of the financial market, but the idea has been to ensure what I would call a more ethical approach to the financial market by ensuring that the different mechanisms of supervision that had been put aside in 1999 are back to monitor the system. And actually, normal hedging on future market is a good thing. Nobody questions it. But it has to be done within rules, within regulations, and in particular, out-of-counter operations also need to be known, to be monitored. All these existed until 1999, but with deregulation, all the different monitoring systems were put aside. And the whole idea is to try to come back to a better managed system. There's already action being taken in the framework of the US. Action is being taken in that direction in the framework of the EU. So I think that we will make progress.
It's the last year of your third mandate, so it's been 18 years. Are you still worried? Because, as you said, nearly 1 billion people are hungry on Earth. You issued a report, the FAO, with the OECD, saying that the average price of food and some staple food products will continue to rise in the next decade. I mean, are you really concerned that hunger will remain a problem and even get worse?
Well, get worse, I hope not. But naturally, I'm frustrated because it's a matter that we would have been able to address if we followed the decisions we made. We organized in 1996 the first World Food Summit of heads of state and government. That in itself was not normal that it took 50 years to get such a meeting. We took decisions. We adopted a program. We set a target of cutting by half number of hungry people by the year 2015. And then instead of increasing investment went down. So we had in 2002 to call a second summit and to say if we continue with the present trends, the goal of 2015 will be reached only in 2150. So it's none. But it took the crisis of 2007, 8, the riots, etc., to see governments wake up and start to take action. At least now we are in the right direction.
But isn't this a shame?
Well, I'm sure that it's certainly not one of the most brilliant spots of international cooperation to address a human issue.
Who is guilty?
Well, everybody who has been involved in all this, including all those who had the decision to change it.
Is it the rich countries mostly?
Well, rich countries, because they're the one in charge of ODA, but also developing countries who were allocating only around 5% of their national budget to agriculture, while the minimum should have been 10%.
Do you take this also as a personal failure?
No, why? Because I'm not the one who had the tools, the means, and the policy decision. My job was to analyze the situation. My job was to create the forum to debate them, to give the data, to indicate where action ought to be taken, and I did that. And fortunately, at least over the recent years, there are a number of African countries and countries in the rest of the world that have been successful in achieving food security, which shows that if we had done that earlier, and we had to follow the commitment we made at the World Food Summit, we would have eliminated hunger.
So your mandate ends at the end of the year. There are some people who say you might be interested in running for the presidency of Senegal, your home country.
They say, I didn't say.
Are you going home after all those years?
Certainly. I'm happy to go home, for sure.
With no further ambitions for now?
Well, what the ambitions are, it's the people who are talking about it so far have not said anything yet.
Jacques Diouf, thank you very much for coming on the France 24 interview. Thank you all for watching it. Stay tuned for more news here on France 24.